Hi everyone, welcome to MBA Reacts, the third episode, and today's topic is East meets West and general chit chat. To kick things off, I guess like we can go with introductions. I'll go first. I'm Pranav. I'm currently pursuing my MBA. Started this sem. I am professionally an AI researcher. Did my undergrad in India and did my master's in the US. Worked there for a few years. Then things went south, and now I've come here. Yeah, that's basically a bit about me.
Okay, should I go next?
Okay.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Nadia. I'm a full-time MBA student, same as Pranav. 2025 intake. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia, born and raised, and then I moved to Korea for my undergrad. Lived there for 4 years, went back home to Jakarta, worked for like 5, 6 years, and then now I'm here in Singapore.
And I'm Tom. I'm from Australia. I'm a engineer by background, part of the same full-time cohort as you guys. So we all met each other, what, three months ago?
Yeah.
And now we're all doing a podcast or doing an episode of a podcast. So that's us. And the topic today is
East meets West, apparently. So I guess like we can start with the work culture differences. I guess. What are some of the, at least from your perspective, like from an Australian perspective, what exactly are the main differences that you see from where you are and what you experience here in Singapore, just in general?
it's hard because we haven't worked here. A lot of us, or Nadia has, but you've worked in Singapore.
No.
No, so none of us have worked in Singapore. But I think there's a lot of similarities. Everyone speaks English, ops culture, like all that sort of stuff. But the big differences are probably in how people interact, and I think Australians are very sort of sarcastic and silly to an extent.
It's not a cultural thing.
I think
Everyone
so.
is
And not as
sarcastic.
serious and not as perfectionist.
Oh, I think that's like it's like a common theme between a lot of Commonwealth countries, I guess, because I had a boss working in the US, and she was from England, and she was pretty much the same as well. She was very sarcastic and quite humorous. She loved a lot of dark humor and stuff like that. So it was nice talking.
I mean, you and Rich are like the silliest people in our cohort, right?
Yeah. Well, Rish and I love our jokes. Right, yeah. Just in general, I interned here at NUS a few years ago, so I wouldn't like call it work experience as such, because academia is not exactly like industry work. But we did have a collaboration with HP at the time, and it was I would say the work culture here at that time, from very limited experience, was very similar to what we had, what I experienced in the US as well. It was very open. It was less contextual. You didn't have to pick up context clues as much as just like give a clear answer. Like if you were able to do something, you say it clearly. You say that you can do something, yes, or you say no. In India, what happens is we have to pick up on contextual cues as well. What is not said is almost always as important as what is said. So you can't go out there and say like, if you can't do a task, you can't be like, oh, I cannot do it. You have to be like, oh, I'll try. Maybe it'll get done in the next few days, but it'll be kind of difficult, and then you're going over your head with it. But yeah, but yeah, that's how it goes there.
Yeah. Have you guys read The Culture Map, the book?
No.
So there's this book called The Culture Map. I don't remember who wrote it, but essentially it talks about how every country has like a different work culture, and there's like several metrics, and then each country scores differently on each metric. So there's like high contact versus low contact, and then for example, hierarchy versus like more what's the opposite of like hierarchical? I guess
Fun hierarchy. I don't know.
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
democratic, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So there's like several metrics. And for I think most of the Asian countries, they score quite high in terms of like hierarchy and like high contact. So that's why it's so difficult if you work in Asian countries, I think predominantly. I think Singapore is quite different because they're both very efficient, more straightforward than the rest of Asian countries. But because I was working in Indonesia and Korea, those countries are very, very high contact. And it's also one of the reasons why it's hard for you to do NLP for those kinds of languages because there's a lot of context that goes into the languages. If you think about it.
Those countries
Exactly.
get things done too. Like they're so productive. Productivity is so much higher in the East. like work per person broadly in the economy. It's so much better in some of these countries. My favorite part of East meets West always comes back to food, right? Like it seems like no one brings lunch to work, or no one brings lunch to school, right? No one brings, very few people bring a packed lunch. And you just go out and there's just all this incredible food, like there's will be in hawker centres, but even in other parts of Asia, there's street food, hawker food. And so that is a lot less common, and it's like one of the cool parts of being in a different country is how much good food there is. I've had like, satay ayam in Jakarta, like,
Right.
so good. And I think that's very different to some of the Western cultures where it's like you go to a restaurant or you get takeaway, but you don't really get that sort of
hawker experience.
even like team, like you go to everyone goes, you see them at like lunch, we'll go to a hawker centre and they'll just eat in their work shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys not do that in Australia? You guys,
It's not hawker centres and restaurants are more expensive. Like
Right.
it's quite expensive to do that every day, like 5 days a
yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure some people do, but
So you just have lunch separately.
you have like you bring your own packed lunch, like most people, and you'll like eat it in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
Together or not?
I do remember doing that in the US as well. Like we would get lunch from wherever. If we're doing takeaway, we just get the takeaway and then come to the lunchroom and then just have it there. But yeah, I guess like hawker centers and like
Communal dining.
communal dining. Yeah.
And paying for things, right? Like here, everyone's like pay. It's like paying for each other's food and
Yeah.
like.
Oh, that's such an Asian thing.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
People actually like if you let's say you eat with like your family or like your close relatives, your friends, whatever, and then you eat at a Chinese restaurant, they would fight to pay first. They would actually go and like rush to the cashier to pay first.
Yes. It happens with my dad a lot as well. My mom's been after his blood for like, paying way too many of the extended family bills. He's just like, where do you have the money?
Because it's a sign of respect.
I
for
feel
Asian.
guilty when people we go for like MBA stuff, people are paying, and it's like I start carrying cash around. It's like force cash into their hand. So I feel guilty that people are paying for lunch or dinner.
No, but it's an Asian thing. Like
Yeah.
it's a sign of respect, especially if you're younger than them. Like the older people tend to do that for the younger ones. It's an Asian thing.
I guess like even in the at least in our like where I worked in the US, our team, I guess our boss did take care of the lunch meal bill, but I guess like he wouldn't do it if it was a huge group or anything of that sort. I think in Asia that's more prevalent maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely more prevalent. Like again, because I was in Korea, I spent like 4 years in Korea. Like your seniors does that as well. Like not just your professor or your like boss, right? I mean, if it's your boss, then he's making a lot more than you. I guess it's more understandable if he pays for your meal. But even let's say you go to the MBA just 1 year ahead of me, you would also still pay for me. Yeah, it's like a culture thing.
Korea's very American, like Singapore's very like multicultural, but Korea's very Americanized, isn't it? Does some of those like American cultural things?
In what
Yeah,
sense?
That's actually something that I want
Like
to
office culture.
Yeah.
Dude, they're very hierarchical though. In the States, maybe not so much, right? And then it's very high context. Like you have to read between the lines.
Okay.
Like let's say, for example, you get invited to a work dinner, and then for work dinners they drink a lot, right? And some people might not like that culture, and it's totally fine if you want to leave. For like that it's fine, but in Korea it might not be as fine. They would say that okay, it's okay if you want to leave. If you don't want to drink as much, but sometimes that they don't mean. So that's why it's tricky, because like you have to know when you actually have to force yourself to drink
Oh.
versus not. Like it's hard to change the culture is what I'm saying. Like if you're really against that sort of thing, then of course you do you, but don't get surprised if you're not involved in.
So in general, like the work culture is more like Asian than it is.
Oh, it is very Asian, yeah. It's similar to Japanese, but maybe Japanese is even like I think it's even harder because it's even more high context, I think. Yeah.
Because yeah, like from what is portrayed on TV, like about Korea, like it's I guess
It's pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some seriously cool TV, like Korean TV and movies. Like,
Yeah, but like the work culture thing, I think is quite accurate.
yeah, my mind keeps going to like Parasite though. I'm like, maybe not work culture.
Not that one, yeah. But I mean, let's say if you in Australia, right? And then you have like a work dinner thing, or let's say you have an outing, but it's on a weekend, like an office outing, and then you have family, and then you're like, okay, I can't go because I have to.
I think that comes down to It's much more personal, so it's your personal decision.
Right, right.
I still think forgetting like East v Western culture and all the rest, that it's disrespectful not to go to dinner if someone has invited you to dinner. Like, but I think there's an element of respect that is important regardless.
Got it, got it. I think it's just that in Korea, I think for context, for example, my professor was a big drinker. He would ask us to drink with them 3 times a week.
Mm.
Almost every week. So like if you have kids or if you have exams, whatever, it's not as easy, right? Because like you have to recover the next day, for example. So if you go out 3 times a week, that's like every day you spend time either drinking or recovering.
I'm doing OIT again, but at the start of year 2. Like,
Oh my god.
like where you now know, because the cameras off, we we're doing about group assignments, which we can come back to. But imagine doing the whole like team building week-long intensive where you're like feeling everyone out, but now after 6 months of like knowing that that person is more blunt and that person is not, that would be pretty wild.
Honestly,
I don't know if it'd be productive.
Yeah, I would like it to be from a community perspective. I guess like we're missing that kind of. At least I am.
Like a regroup.
Like a regroup, yeah. Like I guess it would. They would probably shuffle if they were to do it. They'd probably shuffle the groups again, maybe
Yeah.
so that people who weren't with each other, like not in the same class or something, like get to interact with each other a lot more. But it would be fun, yeah, in my opinion.
So LYT is like the team building week-long intensive thing before we started our MBA.
Yeah. One of the most fun weeks I've had during the course actually. I got to know a lot of people, and it was the first taste, I guess, of actually working in a group with people that were from the Asian culture. For me,
But you're Asian. You've never worked with Asians before?
not. I mean, I have like during my internship as well. Yes, it's more like it wasn't fully on this side of Asia. Like Indian culture is not exactly the same as Asian.
Oh yeah,
culture.
for sure. Yeah.
So I don't know how to. There are some subtle differences, but also there are also some communication gaps that exist.
Oh, for sure.
So, for example, I can be far more sarcastic with other Indians and even people from the West or from Australia than I am with Asian people.
Yeah, true.
But like the group assignment thing we were talking about is super interesting because look, we're being blunt and like giving feedback
Right.
is totally different across cultures, and it's like sometimes you just want people to call a spade a spade. It'll be like, no, that slide's not very good. Fix it. It's like, okay, that's not offensive. Just tell me to fix the slide. And that's certainly different in part of this model. Because the MBA is like Singaporean, but it's also very multicultural, right? It's parts of Singaporean culture, but also parts of just Indian culture, Indonesian culture, like that.
It's actually very different. Like my MBA experience, at least from a diversity perspective, has been so completely different to what I experienced in the US because the master's degree was basically 50% Indians and 50% Chinese people
in the US.
In the US,
I think Australian higher education is to an extent the same. That's why these courses, institutions are so good.
Exactly. So I feel like, and there they didn't have like any sort of there wasn't a focus on actually getting people from other cultures to actually work together. So if I was as an Indian, I had the option to just stick to my comfort zone and work with Indians, which I did for the most part, and because it was more comfortable that way. And the Chinese people tended to stick amongst themselves as well because it was easier for them to.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely prefer subjects where they set our groups for us and clearly put effort into mixing people up.
Yeah,
I
agree. Yeah, I think even when I do get the chance to like build my own team or find my own team, I always try to find different people from different backgrounds. I mean, again, we did product games. I specifically wanted to make I specifically wanted to join the competition with people from different backgrounds because I'm a firm believer that diversity helps you with like creativity and everything. But yeah, in group assignments, sometimes um, you do have difficulties. Yeah, because again, I I pick people from different backgrounds because I want their different perspective, right? But some people might not give their perspective, maybe because they're afraid to, voice their opinion out, or maybe they just don't want to make a mistake or whatever. So sometimes it does get hard for me when.
Perfectionism is really like how do people perceive like
Yeah,
good enough?
I think so. Like we're all here to learn. Like honestly, I don't really care if you're. There's no right and wrong, and like we're all here to solve the problem. So yeah, like just voice out your opinion. Like try to brainstorm everything, right? Like you don't have to get it correct the first time. That's why we're here to discuss. So I think I find it quite hard sometimes if you're trying to be proactive, trying to initiate the conversation, and the rest of the team is just like, okay, it's good enough. I know it's not good enough, but
Yeah.
it's a struggle sometimes.
I do like I was saying with redoing LYT, but even like by the end of like end of the MBA, like January next year, I wonder if we had sat down and had the same discussion, whether we'll be like, no, this was all easy, group sign with anyone, and a lot of these cultural like things will have disappeared. I think a lot of them will. I think a lot of like
as we get used to
yeah
people's working styles.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think it will disappear, but maybe we just get better at adjusting.
subconsciously
Yeah,
adjusting.
subconsciously adjusting. Like you know that how this person work and you know how to handle
Yeah.
certain situations.
And it goes two ways as well, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. For
That's
sure.
what you'd have to,
Yeah.
you'd hope to expect. But I mean, in general, I guess like you would have more perspective because you worked on the VCIC case competition where they actually ask for like a
Oh,
diverse.
really? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of the criteria, right?
Yeah, although we were still, it was interesting because they asked for a diverse criteria for this team, and we had Rish and Neha, and and they were concerned like could we add Hitali because she was another Indian, and I'm sitting there like yeah, but one's a lawyer, one's from VC background, and one's like product manager background, so like that's diverse, and then everyone was concerned. It's like we've got to actually mix background experience as well as culture. So it's totally fine. Like where they're from is sort of not the point. But yeah, we needed to make sure that we were also not just having 5 computer science majors from different countries. That's just as useful. That's much worse than having 5 Australians like that. Yeah.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, for me, at least, like it's I prefer working from a Western culture standpoint because for me, clear communication is important. If I'm to do something, I will tell you clearly whether I can do it or not. And if I'm asking you to do something for me, I would expect a clear answer as well, rather than like have me having to read the context and stuff like that, which is slightly difficult. And also, I don't expect people to be available all the time. It's more like if the work is done, just present the work to me or like to the team, and then we'll shoot it down and like we figure it out.
Do you think sport like you're a tennis player? We were talking about that
I used to play
earlier.
lacrosse in undergrad.
Really?
Yeah.
But like tennis is a competitive sport and can get quite hectic, and cricket, of course, there's a lot of Australian Indian back and forth in this NBA with cricket. But do you think that the sporting aspect that we do some of the stuff we do in the NBA means that you're more comfortable like throwing shade or like being sarcastic because there's like a sporting background that at least some of the cultures share?
I think so, yeah. At least in terms of football, for sure. Like if we had people from Britain, I guess like it would be fun to kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I think there are cultures who are very team sport orientated seem to be able to slot in.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. I guess like if we have that, if I knew that someone was a fan of for particular sport, it's easy to throw banter at them because you know that like it's part of their culture. You know that they also follow it and.
Should I address the cultural norm that it's actually called soccer?
Can we not?
There's a lot of head shaking going on off camera.
It's not soccer. It's only soccer for Ellis. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's just easier. And also I guess like if when you speak to people, at least for me, it's easy for me to like understand what their vibe is. Um, for the most part, like when I spoke to Nadia, I knew that I could be open with her about a lot of things. And she, I think, like she does a lot of criticism that way as well, which is nice.
Unique criticism.
Yes. Sometimes yeah, I do get lost in my head.
The other cultural East meets West norm that I've recently partaken in is I bought a labubu.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
which you don't see them in Australia. But I bought one for my daughter for Christmas. So
What was your motivation?
well, to like, I'm in Singapore, like when in Rome.
what was the price for Labubu?
It was like $25. I don't think it was at the Pop
Pop
Mart
Mart,
store.
yeah. It's the same price, honestly, but like some Labubus are apparently like more rare.
Yeah.
Limited edition.
Look, I'm not an expert in it. I just partook in the pop culture. But like, yeah.
Exactly. Like some people collect Labubus, right? That's why like they go to the resale market and then they jack up the price. But if you don't mind which like whatever Labubu you get, then it's the normal price, like 20 something bucks.
Yeah.
You buy the Pop Mart.
Yeah. Wait, what are we talking about?
Some key takeaways from our
Key takeaways
really,
from
really,
We got that out.
a really broad conversation just now.
Yeah. Key
Takeaway
takeaway
one, we can't stay on topic.
Yes.
I mean, we did say general chit chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We digressed a little, but I think it was all under one umbrella. But in general, for me, I guess like the key takeaway is just to keep an open mind. I guess for me, and try to understand that not everyone has the same context as you. So and not everyone has the same threshold as you as well. That's something that I keep telling myself because I do have this habit of kind of upsetting people with the things that I say. And,
I will not say no to that, but
so yeah, I think that's very important for me to do. So that would be my key takeaway.
no, yeah, I agree. I think self-awareness goes a really long way. Not just self-awareness, but awareness to your surrounding in terms of knowing where where they're coming from, knowing their cultural context, how they work with you, how they work in general is really important. And again, being open-minded, you're here to learn, so be prepared to be wrong, I guess. Yeah. Uh, you're not always right. You might be an expert at your field before the MBA, but again, why are you laughing, dude?
But then that's what like Prof Joel was like.
Exactly.
When remember we do all those cases, and he's like, you might have worked in this industry, you might know all the answers, but the person next to you is from a completely different industry, and I remember he's like, what you'll find is they actually know more about this case than you do because
Correct.
they've got
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the bit I keep coming back to. It's like assume everyone's trying like their heart is in the right place. They're not trying to offend you, or they're not trying to
Exactly.
be mean or blunt or passive. That's just how they
Exactly.
work.
I think having that mindset really helps in the MBA, and also it helps you because it's gonna be easier for you to work with everyone else again as well mentally.
100%.
And Jahari did make the good point that over the years, all our workplace is going to be more globalized. So if we learn to do it now, it's much better than they do it.
For sure.
Even now, like I think just having exposure, like more exposure than our parents as well to how Western culture is or how Eastern culture is, it's definitely helped at least me and my sister a lot in my family as to like how do we go about behaving with people who we're not completely familiar with and not from our culture, right? It's a lot better. It's a lot better. But it was a lot easier for me to go abroad to the US for the first time and like adjust to that.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a bit of a culture shock, especially with the trash removal system and stuff like that. But like segregation systems. But apart from that, it was great. It's been easier.
Also, something that I learned is now I get into the habit of before I start a group project, I ask them how their communication style is, conflict management style as well. So it's easier, let's say down the road, if you get into an argument, you know how to resolve it because you already know how they are, like right when you start the group project. So it's easier to navigate later.
But do you feel like it's people could feel that they are a certain way
For
when
sure,
starting
for
out.
sure, obviously. But like for me, there's no harm in asking.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
At
There's
least
not
you have to cover your basic coverage.
exactly.
And at least
you have
they
nothing to
maybe
lose.
have thought about it. Like
Yeah.
they don't have to be like, oh,
You
my
don't have to be accurate.
confrontation style is this. So
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
get annoyed at me, do this. But at least they go like, oh yeah, maybe Nadia's trying to get to know.
Yeah.
If I'm frustrated, at least she wants to come at the right place.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm basically telling them that hey, I'm willing to do the work. Like just help me from your end. How
Yeah.
can I make this easier for us both?
Yeah. I guess we can conclude on that note. Yeah, and if you like this content, please do like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. It was great talking to you guys. Hey. Cut that shit, bro.